Hey guys, Professor Bell, Comic Book University, and Wonder Woman versus Lobo. This is the third part of the actual battles for the DCKO, so the fifth book in the series. It follows Aquaman versus Hawkman, just did a review on that, and it follows last week's Superman versus Captain Atom. We're going to have some Teen Titans battles coming up and Harley Quinn versus Zatanna. You know Harley Quinn's going to somehow pull out the W, right? So this is really just a popularity contest at this point. It's not really a thing. I know Aquaman versus Hawkman. Oh, gee, which one's more popular than the other? Well, one of them actually has his own book and regularly has his own book, right? Like there's the holy trinity of the DC universe. You know, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. If you're new to the channel, or if you're new to comic books in general. But after that, there's the Justice League 7, right? They're supposed to basically be like the Greek gods in general. And you've got the Flash is always on there. Aquaman is always going to be on there. Hawkman is never really on there for whatever reason. Okay. And then you're going to have Cyborg is always going to be on there. And that's mostly just for diversity's sake. I mean, let's be realistic. There are plenty of other characters out there, but we have to take this Teen Titan and put him over here because we need to have diversity. That's the reason why Green Lantern will be switched between Hal Jordan and John Stewart all the time, right? They did it in the TV show, the cartoon. So I mean, like it is what it is. Aquaman is what it is. This is about Wonder Woman though, and she, look, Wonder Woman is not necessarily the most important character in the DC universe. I'm going to say that there are far, far, far more fans of the Flash and the Green Lantern Corps than there are of Wonder Woman. That's not to insult Wonder Woman. I know she just had a little run on the Stranger Things thing, but yeah, George Perez, God rest his soul. He's been gone for a while now. It's been about 4 years since he was diagnosed with cancer, right? And we lost him. Was him in 3 years now. God rest his soul. But this was such an obvious popularity contest as well, and it's really detracting from wanting to see more of this. Let's get talk about who made this comic book, and we'll go on from there. Though Joelle Jones is the writer. Jason Howard and Carrie Nord did the art. Oh, and so did Daniel Bayliss. That's cool. Tamara Bonvillain and Bayliss also did the colors, and Clayton Cowles did all the letters. Jorge Corona did the main cover along with Sarah Stern, and there are a bunch of variant covers out there also. And William Moulton Marston is, of course, the creator of Wonder Woman. So when I talk about popularity contests, look, this is Wonder Woman has her own comic book, and yet they chose to put this in a separate comic book, right? They're not all like that. Aquaman issue number 12 and Teen Titans coming up. They're in their own thing. Like for instance, round 6 is supposed to be the Flash versus one of the Green Lanterns. Who do you think is going to win? You know what I'm saying? Like who do you think is going to win in that? It's the Flash's comic book. So yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. With Superman versus Captain Atom as a separate book, obviously Soup is going to win. Aquaman, I knew he was going to win because it's his own comic book. And yes, Wonder Woman won in this one. She actually lost the first round, which is cool. So how did she win the second 2 rounds? Also, there wasn't a whole lot of changing skins in this. A little bit, right? Little tiny bit. But for the most part, no, they just stayed themselves and fought. Not a whole lot to explain in this. It's literally you read the original issues or you don't read anything, or you don't understand anything, I should say. If you're just picking up one or two of these issues, you're going to get lost reading this, right? It's going to be like, why are we changing? I don't understand what's going on here, right? You pick this up out of nowhere, you're completely confused. But what I will say is this. It would have really impressed the heck out of me if other characters other than the obvious ones would have won. Maybe that'll happen towards the end. Maybe this is just supposed to be a big old silly whatever thing like DCKO issue number 5. Maybe there's something special is going to happen there, but I highly doubt it. I think this is going to be as typical gets, you know? It's going to be one of the Trinity who winds up winning. It would be shock and awe if anybody else wound up winning or taking this, you know? And it just, I mean, that's just DC for you, right? They're always going to go with their top 3. Batman, because he's the most popular character in the comic book industry. His TV, his cartoons will sell, his movies will sell. If they made a TV series, that's going to sell. They did, and it did. They can even get somebody as silly as Patton Oswalt? No, Robert Pattinson. Same guy. Playing Batman, and they'd still wind up selling the freaking movie. So it is what it is. I mean, let's just be realistic. Cedric Diggory as Batman. Well, I can actually see it being good. Yeah, duh. Because it's Batman. You just want Batman. Let's be realistic. And Superman because he's the original character and he is really cool, you know? But Wonder Woman is really just a marketing thing. Let's just be honest. There are some fans of Wonder Woman, clearly, duh. I'm a fan of Wonder Woman, but I'm not a super fan like that. I don't think she necessarily belongs as one of the Trinity characters. It is what it is. I think the Flash makes more sense there than anything else. But, and I say that being extremely partial to Hawkman and the Green Lantern, right? Hal Jordan specifically, but others as well. This, I don't know. This is one of those things where it's like you had to have some divine intervention as to why Lobo lost, right? You remember the Wolverine versus Lobo? This is the exact same thing where it's like no explanation. It's just, it was a fan vote. So only one of them could smoke the cigar at the end. As cool as Wolverine was, at the top of his game as he was in those early 90s, is Wolverine, is there ever a day that the sun could rise where Wolverine beats Lobo? No. But it's a popularity contest, you know? If you ever watch professional wrestling, with professional wrestling, there's always somebody who's going to eat the pin, right? We have to protect Roman Reigns. He can't actually take a pin, so let's have him team up with somebody else, and that person will lose. You know, that person will take the pin. So Roman will lose in the tag team, but, he won't actually eat the pin. Somebody else will take that for him. So we can still keep Roman looking strong. Oh, if Roman was in there, then he wouldn't have lost. He wouldn't have been pinned. One of those kinds of things, right? This is very similar to that. Lobo is just that guy who's going to eat the pin no matter what. The final part, look, the first 2 rounds were whatever for the most part. The first one actually made the most sense. The second one was just like, okay, why would Lobo take that form? Maybe it's just me. But that third one, they made it very funny. Joelle Jones is a very talented writer. Let's just be realistic. Oh, and for the most part, I like the art, but it was drawn to be silly, which led me to believe that maybe, just maybe, they're going to let Lobo win and turn this into something. But no, Lobo wound up losing. It was fun in the very beginning, how they were fighting and blah, 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 blah. But the way that he lost was just so silly. And speaking as a religious person, him losing this way was just so silly, but it is what it is. The wild thing about this is I actually believed, and call me dumb if you want, it's cool. I actually believed DC was going to do something fun with this. As opposed to making the obvious winners the winner, they instead turn around and, excuse me. Okay, I screwed that up completely. They could have made it so that the not so obvious winners were the real winners, right? Hawkman coming out in front versus Aquaman is whatever. I get it. But if Captain Atom would have beat Superman, especially considering how much of a wimp Superman was acting like, that would have been interesting. That would have made me stop for a second and say, whoa, 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 whoa. Really? Interesting. Right? Because we've seen Superman versus Omega Eyes boy. Why can't I remember Darkseid's name? Duh. Look what I just did there. It's early, guys. It's early. I've been doing a lot of reviews. You kind of understand what I'm saying? We've seen Superman fight him before. We've seen Superman win before. We've seen it on cartoon. We've seen it in books. We're expecting to see it in a movie. We will one day, especially with Netflix taking over Warner Brothers. But I mean, come on. We're going to see it in a movie too. We're going to keep on seeing Superman versus him. But but Captain Atom versus Darkseid would have been different. We've seen Lobo. We've seen Wonder Woman versus Darkseid. As far as Lobo versus Darkseid, we've kind of seen that too. Was it Injustice? I think it was Injustice 2, right? And it was interesting. I thought it was kind of interesting. It said something. The idea that he would have to fight him again, and this time for supreme ownership, right? That would have been interesting. Everything doesn't have to be about the obvious Justice League 7 or, God forbid, the Holy Trinity of DC. You could mix things up. I think that at the end of the day, DC is just scared to piss off the fans, and they're not comfortable enough with trying something new. I get it. There's that bit of a fear. What do we go this way? Do we go that way? I get it. I really do. But if you keep going with the safe choice, then for us, the safe choice is to save our money. I just hope DC understands this. It's just my humble opinion. Anyway, guys, I'll let you all go. Like the video, watch an ad. I'll talk to you all later. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.